this Sunday before Lent, we hear again the story of the Transfiguration of Jesus in the mountain. And it's an astonishing story. And it's difficult for us with our modern mindsets and ways of thinking to try and get hold of it. But perhaps we can see it as the point where human nature meets God. The meeting place for the temporal and the eternal, with Jesus himself as the bridge between heaven and earth. Or we might look at it more poetically. So do we have any Leonard Cohen fans here this morning? Oh, thank you. One hand went up. Thank you very much. Anyway, I like him very much. He died last November, and a very nice tribute to him by Lawrence Moore in February's Reform magazine. But in his song Anthem, I've always been very struck by the lines, "There's a crack in everything. That's how the light gets in." And Barbara Brown Taylor, the American Christian writer, she's picked this up, and she suggested that the Transfiguration is like other events in the Bible, such as the burning bush or Jacob's ladder. And she says, these are all cracked doors between this world and some other brighter place where God is no absentee landlord, but is a palpable presence. In other words, in this story, we are given a glimpse of heaven. More about this later, but let's first think of our Old Testament reading. Years and years ago, long before I was ever in ministry, I can remember one occasion I was returning from a business trip to Canada, and the return flight to Heathrow went over the Scottish mountains. And the view looking down was something else. It was absolutely beautiful, because there were the mountains sticking up through the cloud cover, and they were shining in the morning light, and they looked so beautiful. But of course, maybe the experience would have been rather different if I had been on one of those mountains. Because sometimes if you're hill walking or you're doing climbing and the cloud level is low, then it can be very eerie and disorientating. And both our readings this morning are concerned with mountains and clouds and God, and both speak of experiences which might very well have been eerie and disorientating. In Exodus, we hear Moses going up Mount Sinai for an encounter with God. And we know that some people are described as having their head in the clouds. People who are fanciful or maybe hold unrealistic expectations. But Moses literally had his head in the clouds, but his feet were very firmly planted on the ground, because he knew why he was going up that mountain, and it was to receive the law from God. And we hear that a cloud symbolizing the presence of God settled on the mountain for 6 days, and Moses had to wait until God called him into the cloud on the 7th day, and he stayed there for 40 days and 40 nights. Moses had to wait. So what about us? What are we like at waiting? Speaking as an older, I'm not sure whether the current generation are particularly good at waiting. Everything nowadays has to be sort of instant messaging and all the rest of it. But of course, there are times in our lives when we have to wait. And we might think of the expected mother waiting for a child to be born. Maybe it's when we're waiting for an important phone call that will tell us whether or not the offer we put on the house we want to buy, whether it's been accepted. Or maybe we're waiting for the results of hospital tests. waiting can be a time of expectancy, can also be a time of great anxiety. But what about waiting for God? What about waiting for God to speak, to act, to answer prayer? Some of us might feel that this can be a bit of a frustrating business. Our experience might be that after asking God for something in prayer, well, it might seem that God's taking a rather long time to get back to us. Waiting in silence is not a fashionable thing nowadays. Yet this story from Exodus tells us that sometimes an encounter with God demands it. I don't know if any of us have read the lovely little poem called Kneeling. It was written by Aras Thomas. He was a Welsh clergyman, poet, wild, eccentric, but he wrote some beautiful poetry. Listen to these lines at the start of his poem. And he said, "Moments of great calm, kneeling before an altar of wood in a stone church in summer, waiting for God to speak." And he ends his poem with the line, "The meaning is in the waiting." And in a similar vein, I can remember a number of years ago when the BBC broadcast a program called The Big Silence. Some of you may have seen it. In essence, it was about a Benedictine monk trying to teach a group of people how to wait in silence and trying to teach them the value of silent meditation. And these people came from all walks of life and they committed to spending, I think it was 8 days, in a largely silent retreat. And they each had a spiritual counsellor, but for most of the time they were on their own. And at first they found it so difficult. And there were tears, and some of them cheated a bit. They met up in secret so they could have a chat with each other. But as the days went by, they grew to value it. And by the end of their stay, they were profoundly changed. And it seemed that each one of them, in different ways, had had some sort of experience of God. And I thought it was a quite remarkable little program. And in essence, it told us, and it told our society that we need to make time in our everyday lives to wait in silence. And through this, experience God. Back to the Transfiguration. Jesus goes up the mountain with Peter, James and John, and suddenly he's transformed and his face and clothes blaze with glory. And then even more startling, Moses and Elijah, representing the law and the prophets respectively, they appear on either side of Jesus. It's as if the entire revelation of God is there. And it should have been a time of waiting and watching and learning and listening, trying to find out something about the true nature of Jesus. But Peter, in true fashion, he starts babbling on about making 3 shelters because he wants things to stay like this forever. But God interrupts him, and we can almost hear God say, "Peter, shush! This is my own dear son with whom I am pleased. Listen to him." And this is a strange and mysterious story of an occasion where heaven touched earth. And in it we can see confirmation that Jesus really was God's son, that he was fully human and fully divine. And the disciples are told to trust in Jesus and to hang on to his words. I want to say one other thing about the Transfiguration. Some of you may have read some of the books of Tom Wright. He's the former Bishop of Durham. He's produced loads of books, but some excellent commentaries in the books of the New Testament. Anyway, very intrigued by his thoughts on the transfiguration of Jesus, because he sees parallels between the transfiguration and the crucifixion. So let's think about these. Here in the mountain of transfiguration is Jesus, revealed in glory. There on the hill outside Jerusalem is Jesus, revealed in shame. Here his clothes are shining white. There he hangs naked. His clothes have been stripped off and soldiers have gambled for them. Here he is flanked by Moses and Elijah, two of Israel's greatest heroes. There on the cross he's flanked by two criminals. Here a shining cloud overshadows the scene. There darkness comes over all of the land. Here Peter blurts out how wonderful it all is. There he is hiding in shame after denying that he even knows Jesus. Here God's voice declares, "This is my son." There at the foot of the cross, a soldier declares that this really is God's son. And I think these parallels are important, and they tell us that we can only really understand each event when we see them side by side. It's only putting them side by side that we can see the glory in the cross and see the cross in the glory of the resurrection. And through this we learn about Jesus, the one who was both fully human and fully divine. The Transfiguration is a story about us being surprised by the power and the love and the beauty of God. But I think it also tells us that we need to listen and respond. Moses waited and listened out for God's voice. The Transfiguration tells us that we need to wait and listen out for God's voice and Jesus' voice. On the mountain, Peter says how good it is to be here. He wanted to stay there forever. But Jesus led him and the other disciples back down the mountain to re-engage with the world and set his face towards Jerusalem and the fate which awaited him there. And in the verses immediately following the story of the Transfiguration, we hear there was a crowd waiting for him to come back down, and a man comes forward and asks him to heal his possessed son back into the real world. And this is a reminder to us that no matter how wonderful, how important our own mountaintop experiences of God's glory might be, we need to remember that we are called